Hey people, CzarThwomp here, and welcome to episode 42 of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Last time, we finished up Mike Meekins' testimony, and we brought Jake March to the stand, and we're cross-examining him. So, yay! And I was completely off last episode. I was really just out of it. But anyways, let's just do this. Yeah, just looking at it. Okay. I like how they just let you do this. Like, they just let you look at close up of that picture. Okay. Let's just do the classic press. That's because how'd you pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? You don't mean... I mean what I say. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never changed. He must have been using the fingerprint lock without even knowing it. One of them decided to be at the same place as the bloodstained handprint. So then, what about the bloody handprints? Weren't mine. It's no mystery. Wasn't mine. What's wrong with me? Please explain. My locker's covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened the murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chance of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? The bloodstain. Yes. Unrelated? They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's gotta do with breakfast, while the other's a type of murder. He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different. I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It's found in Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer, wearing gloves, happened to place his hand on the top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This sea of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. So long as my trail isn't there, you can say otherwise. You can't say otherwise. What's wrong with me? This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully when you're going with this officer's examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. I thought you had to present the video. What do you think about the witness statement? Yes, blah blah blah, yes. Contradictions, I thought. Yeah, this is my worst case. Just because Ace Attorney has the biggest issue of just, you can know how the cases play out, but you don't know how the game wants you to state that you know how the cases play out, if that makes any sense. You want time with that crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless! It's full blind spots! Blind spots? Places you can't see! The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, he could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright! Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in the video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Show evidence. Because... Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being one of the mistakes. The one making mistakes. What's wrong with me? Really? I am just so out of it today. Now then, let's have another look at that video. Show us the security evidence of the witness. Officer Jake Marshall. Now, the thing is, Jake's gonna use his own locker. We have to point that out. Yeah, Jake's walking in. Yes, Jake was dressed as Bruce Goodman. And then Meekins, he's just walking. Ah! Because you're gonna find that claw. Yes, that's how you're gonna prove it. It's gonna do one last pan. And then we have it right here. Come on. Get on it. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake. I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our chambers. And so is CzarThwomp's memory when it comes to reading the English language, apparently. Lara, why the hell is he blubbing all our lines? Could you sum up what you had to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. See this locker that has the white dot sticking out? This is the witness's locker. Oh my gosh! How have I not noticed all these typos? The judge say, man, the judge is now taking Phoenix's job. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. My computer can't take all these typos. Oh, please just endure. I am so sorry about the glitchiness. Oh, the white cloth, it's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order, order! It would seem that's only hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? Fingerprint lockers for the win. This guy's just plain dumb. He really doesn't know. How the hell has he got this job? That's what Phoenix is thinking in his head. He's like, how the hell do you run the security room? No, Phoenix should run that security room. I hate to run your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah, I call your bluff. You say open that locker, now prove it. You have to use the locker, not the fingerprint. Fingerprint sensor. We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detective they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There's even thousands of people in the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. Yeah, but you'd think that they would tell Neil about this the first day he started on security detail. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! Order, order, order! Witness, explain yourself! If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Alright, please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. You can? Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? He was outside the planes of existence! No, he was Mike Meekins. Come on, get on that K. Get on the special K. I want to go on the special K. Come, go. Officer Marshall was standing right here. So Officer Meekins didn't notice him standing there. It's almost as credible as Meekins' warp theory. What? Now they're getting up on me? Perhaps you should think a little more about where Officer Marshall was. Officer Meekins should have seen him in the evidence room. Oh! I am a moron! I'm trying to say he was a victim! He was dressed as good. I swear, I got a game over on that. I deserve it, just don't. Officer Marshall was saying right here. There, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in this video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous! Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene! Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure! May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir! Yeah, yes. And how did Detective Goodman respond? He told me more name on me! Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why did he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized that this man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say about this, Officer Marshall? You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? You still denying it? You're going to have to do a lot better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving not just up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence? Any evidence proving beyond a shadow of doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. Ah! This can't be happening! It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. Always keep your prosecutor's badge in your lapel. It's more fashionable that way. keep it in your pocket, not on your lapel. Off the lapel, no on your... I butchered that line so badly. I was trying to say, I was taught this all my career to always keep my prosecutor's badge in my pockets because it's more fashionable that way. There it is. When you run to a wall with no places to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Nick, try thinking outside the box! I shouldn't look for a proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came out because he was in disguise. Why do you think his locker was open in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance he might be discovered later as it might have been. SL9, which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's arguments, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of this locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. Very well. Let's take another look at this security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. Okay, this one I am not so sure about. Ah! Alright, yes, the bloody coat! For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman. As the Detective Goodman! And into the evidence room. I didn't know what that reason was yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked. And the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat? You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, huh, partner? Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. Why would I be happy of this, you prick? 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now, would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it. Alright, it seems the time has come. Marshall's confession. We're coming down to the wire with this one. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I was expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas would be caught on camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you? But there's one thing I still don't understand. Large quantities of blood traces were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It looked like too much blood for that. Okay. When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? The SO9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I had anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only the detective who was in charge of it can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time, no matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. Officer Marshall was in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why, I stole the detective's ID dressing like him. I planned to take the evidence. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card. I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor of the prosecutor's office parking lots. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint. Activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Normally that locker shouldn't have opened. So it opened because a rubber glove was stuck in the door by chance. Then Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a 1 in a million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? The second he was born. Anyways, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry I had to turn out that way. With me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So what happened next? And yes. So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make much difference though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no boys would have been left. However, you bloody joke in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is, on that day. Okay. But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. Were you blind? The victim showed on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker? Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where's that evidence? How should I know? Do I look like the evidence lord? Oh, Edgeworth just rumors of fabricating evidence, so I earned all the evidence. I control all the evidence with my cravat. I'll just whip out my cravat and just wave it, and then the evidence will appear right before our eyes. It's still missing honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. I know, that's absurd. Anything can be solved with a cut in salary. I do it to Gumshoe all the time. Hell, Gumshoe breathes one time. I cut his pay to the lowest denominator. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Blasphemy, Wright. I'll cut your pay, Wright. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one's mine. And I'll do everything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I know it's going to be present the thing because Neil Marshall was one of the victims. But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dock was convicted for those crimes. One thing I can say for sure, he deserved his sentence. He was a defendant and he was guilty. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out. But there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at the trial, something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's why I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I better take another look at the files. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. Present the SL9. I never know with this game. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims, Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? And yes, like how Jake Marshall's name is a pun on fake Marshall, Neil Marshall's name is a pun on real Marshall. Neil Marshall. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award. Oh my gosh, I can just imagine that day. Basically, Manfred, he was prepared to win the King of Prosecutors award again. He's up on stage. Okay. The moment you've all been waiting for. The King of Prosecutors. And the winner for this year is And then basically Blaze opens up the envelope. Manfred, he stands up with his robe and his crown. Edgeworth and Francisco are throwing flower petals behind him as he walks up on stage. The second Manfred gets right up to the podium, Blaze like, "Yo, Marshall!" And then basically Manfred is just utterly crushed. He's just gripping his shoulder. His eyes are bugging out. He's sweating. And then Neil Marshall, he just runs up on stage, grabs the trophy, and does some dance while yelping and hooting. And then Manfred's like, "Marshall! No!" And then Blaze is just cackling like, better than primetime television, you know. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh my gosh. You should have heard Von Karma that night. He was livid. He handled the SR9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands. What's his relation to you? He was my brother, who oddly resembled Apollo. Literally, Neil Marshall resembles Apollo Justice. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gann, chief detective at the time. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. And that was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That's all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed, at least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could beat him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SR9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. And not to mention, this whole thing happened by my car! My car! Chance? It's gotta be more than that. So, if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, I'm just gonna go on until the next investigation portion and then just start it there. That means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky! But wait! A verdict has been reached in yesterday's trial! Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remains the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me the boys got the draw on you, partner. All the mysteries of the police department have been uncovered. No contradictions remain. The murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Sky. There are no errors in the testimony of the witness, Angel Star. If you have a response, make it all one word or less. Ah! Thank you. I rest my case. It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thank you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera tape really was fake, but I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. No, then the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant.
Your Honor! Wait!
Emma!
The defense's objection! A scientific objection, right?
What do you mean, Wright? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor! Oh, in a sense.
Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edward, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. Exactly 3. I have my watch.
I was kind of in a shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 is referred to the Joe Dark killings.
Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky Sisters were in that file.
But that's what I figured out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprints had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The officer's handprint.
You mean the trace of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, if I figured it, if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again.
So did you find something?
No.
Huh?
Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all.
Is that all?
Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student.
And I'm just an attorney!
But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clues we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you.
Me? Oh boy! Time's up now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears that the defense is troubled by the other bloody mark. Look at the blueprints. A handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this?
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, mine will be.
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If ever I've needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? I object. I'm sorry. I just want to get through this fast. I don't want to dawdle. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something wasn't been drawn there? Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. The blue badger! Let us pray the defense is sincerely troubled by time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all this evidence here, there's gotta be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove that something was missing from the floor plans? Blue badger! What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force, defender of truth, guardian of proof, and the haunter of children's nightmares, as well as adults. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when you put him here. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? Ah! That's right. So long as the Blue Badger's dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker. What? So that means, just what exactly does it mean? Okay, things are going a bit on the longer side. So anyways, I really appreciate that you stuck around to watch this episode. I hope what's wrong with me? I'm getting my outro wrong. Anyways, I really appreciate that you stuck around to watch this episode. You're great if you want to come back for the next one. If you like the video, like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever you want with that. I'll see you later. Bye.